everyone, my name is Jennifer and I am the Director of Education here at the National Mississippi River Museum and Aquarium. And today we have a very special guest with us, and this is Cece the barn owl. Cece is one of our animal ambassadors here at the River Museum. She works with us to be able to talk to people about how amazing owls and raptors are and why we should work to protect them in the wild. Owls have a lot of great adaptations, and we are able to take her out to schools, libraries, community centers, or even if you're visiting here on site, you'll be able to see her and learn. So as you look at her body, the couple adaptations that we like to point out is things that all raptors have in common. So all raptors, they are birds that catch and carry off their prey. So that means that they're going to be able to have to find their dinner. Owls, their eyesight is what they are known for. So owls, their eyes are huge. In fact, their eyes are so big that they are unable to roll their eyes. So what that means, as she's showing you right now, is if she wants to change what she's looking at, she has to turn her entire head. And she can turn her head a heck of a lot farther than you or I. She is able to do that for a reason. If you can take your fingers and feel your neck bones, if you were to count those right now, you, as a human, have 7. Our owl has 14. Twice as many neck bones means she's able to turn her head farther. On top of that, each one of those vertebrae is set up so that it is more bendy than us as people. So again, she's turning her head really far. She hasn't even shown you the best she can do. Owls can turn their head 270 degrees in either direction or look over their opposite shoulder. If you as a human right now sat up really straight and turned your head as far as you can in one direction, you just turned your head about 70 degrees. And that's as good as any human can do. It's not anything have to do with your age, your flexibility, that is just us as people. But again, we only have 7 neck bones. We can also do something she can't remember. We can all roll our eyes. So her eyesight, pretty good. Her eyesight is amazing in low light conditions, but she can see during the day as well. A lot of people believe that owls are blind in the middle of the day, and that's not true. The biggest difference with her is that she sees in grayscale. So she sees in shades of black and white. So that is what we call a mute in the bird world. And basically that's just her going to the bathroom. And owl poop looks the same as any other bird poop. There's gonna be some white, there's gonna be some clear, and there's going to be some brown. And part of our job as caretakers here at the National Mississippi River Museum and Aquarium is to actually look at those mutes or look at her pellets or what she leaves behind from her lunch, because that helps us determine the health of the animal. Those are all clues so that we know if we need to change anything in how we care for her or if she needs to go to a veterinarian. We have a great veterinarian here in town that specializes in animals that are not a traditional pet, and so she's able to help us out and make sure everything is good to go. So being a keeper is not always glamorous. Sometimes you literally get to deal with poop. So besides her eyesight, the other thing that these owls need in order to survive and find their food is going to be their hearing. So owls, while their eyesight is good, their hearing is amazing. So what I would like you to do, and this is going to sound a bit silly since you're sitting at home, but I would like you to put your fingers on your ears. One finger on each ear, and you're going to take one finger and move it up an inch and forward an inch so it's over your eye. Your other finger down an inch and back an inch so it's kind of right where your jaw starts to move. That is where most owls have their ears. Owls have their ears offset so that they can locate dinner without ever seeing their dinner. And that's why, as you're looking at her right now, she's doing all that head movement back and forth, up and down, all around. She's in a space that she doesn't teach every day. There's a lot of different noises, so she is trying to figure out what is all in her surroundings using her hearing. Her offset hearing allows her to be able to find a mouse under about 12 inches of snow. So even in the middle of winter here in Iowa, she and other owls are going to be able to provide and find plenty of food. So her hearing is so good, chances are that she can hear my heart beating right now. These owls, again, they have to be able to find and locate their food regardless of season. Now, the other thing that helps her be able to do that is silent flight. If she were to jump off her tree branch and flap her wings the same way that a hawk or a bald eagle were, she would make a lot of noise. And that noise would actually disrupt her hearing, and she would lose track of that prey item underneath the snow or the bushes. So because of that, she has completely silent flight. And owl feathers are different than other bird feathers to aid in that. Raptors have 4 sharp talons. So they're going to be able to grab and kill their dinner using those tools. You can see that she has 4 sharp talons here sitting on my glove. 3 are front facing right now, and 1 is back facing. And that is how they are able to perch. So those 4 talons, they're able to actually grab, and then typically what they'll do is they will fly to their favorite tree branch, and depending on the size of the food, they're gonna hold the food in the talons and rip and tear that food up with their nice, sharp beak. These birds, all the raptors, have a hooked beak, so they kind of use it like a can opener to really rip and tear that food up into pieces small enough that they can swallow. Now, if you're a barn owl that just caught your favorite food, which would be a nice field mouse or other small rodent, chances are you're gonna fly to that favorite tree branch and you're gonna swallow that thing whole, head first, and then the tail goes down just like a spaghetti noodle. They eat the fur, they eat the feathers, they eat the bones, they eat every part of what they catch as long as it's nice and small. And some of you may be familiar with a really cool adaptation that owls have, and that is those pellets. Oftentimes as kids in elementary school, one of our science projects is actually to take an owl pellet, break it open, and put the bones from that pellet back together like a jigsaw puzzle. Now that jigsaw puzzle, we can learn if they ate a mouse, we can learn if they ate a rabbit or a songbird. All of that gives us clues. And believe it or not, the same activity that we did in elementary school, there are actually scientists that do that for their job. They go out into the forest or the grasslands, they find those pellets, they take them back to the lab, and that is one way that we're able to learn about the animals that the barn owl shares a habitat with in the wild. Some of those animals just are really hard for us to find when we're out doing field work, so that's a great way for us to get some clues. Now you can see that she's looking around a lot. Again, she's just in a different place than she normally is, so she's making sure that she knows everything that's happening here at the River Museum. Okay, so what you see me doing here is just giving her a little bit of a mist. Owls, like all raptors, they have a high internal body temperature, and one of the ways that they stay relaxed is by using evaporative cooling to stay nice and relaxed. So what I just did is I misted her beak and her talons, and that's where she's going to lose heat. Their body temperature is higher than ours, and they cannot sweat. So this is just a thing that we do to help make sure that she is nice and calm. And that's called arouse, so she's kind of shaking out that water, making sure that she settles down as we kind of reset here. So our owl, I mentioned that their favorite food is mice. Owls in general are amazing neighbors to have, and a lot of us might not even know that we have them as neighbors. Owls and many species love to eat small rodents. The barn owl in particular is known to eat on average 3 mice a night. Well, that's nearly 1,000 mice a year, and all those mice mean that we as humans stay healthy. Mice are known to get into our crops, so sometimes they impact our yields. They also sometimes cause damage to our structures, and occasionally they actually are the spreaders of disease. So by having fewer rodents and keeping that rodent population at a healthy level, the owls are actually helping all of us be healthy. as you look at her today, you might notice that she has some stuff around her feet. So when we work with these birds, we want to make sure that they feel comfortable and safe, as well as the humans that are working with them. So she is wearing traditional equipment. So that's the little leather bracelet that you see around her feet. She also then has a leash, and she is standing on a glove. That means that no matter which keeper handles her here at the River Museum, she knows exactly what to expect. You'll also notice on one of her feet that she has a little gold band. If we were to zoom in on that today, you'd actually see a specific number. It's a little bit like an ID number for her. This particular bird came to us after she was hatched at another zoo. You see, barn owls are endangered in Iowa and other Midwestern states, and this facility is actually raising barn owls and releasing them to the wild to help wild barn owl populations. So she was kept back to help be an animal teacher, and her siblings were released into the wild so that those wild populations start to increase, which is a great thing that we're able to do. Barn owls, though, are not endangered across their whole range. Barn owls are actually found across the globe. They're found on 6 of the 7 continents, Antarctica being the exception. And so they are very common across the world. The fun thing is, if you are a fantastic birder by ear, so if you are really good at listening to bird calls, you can tell where an owl was from. Kind of like how we have a different accent here in Iowa than people in New York or New Jersey have. You can tell kind of the region that people are from. You can do the same with this barn owl call. Now, barn owls, they don't hoot. So when we're very little, from reading all the storybooks, we're taught that all owls hoot. Not true. If she were to vocalize right now, she actually sounds more like a cat hissing. So it's a very interesting vocalization. But like I said, you can tell a South American barn owl versus a European versus a common barn owl like this one. Owls love to raise their family in cavities. So what that means is if you think about one of those big old trees that has the giant woodpecker hole in it, that is where this type of owl lays their eggs. Typically, they lay 5 to 8 eggs in a clutch or a setting. And those chicks, mom and dad will both take turns sitting on them, raising the eggs, the chicks, and after they hatch, they'll go out and they'll find their own territory, their own food. But those woodpecker holes, right, those big old trees that are dead, a lot of times as humans, we like to remove those so that they don't fall on any of our structures or provide a safety hazard. But it turns out they are a very important thing for many of our wild animal neighbors. A lot of bugs and birds and small mammals use them as their homes, like the barn owl, for raising their family. I hope that you've enjoyed learning a little bit about our common barn owl, and I hope that you're able to actually come visit us at the National Mississippi River Museum and Aquarium and meet Cece as well as all of our fantastic ambassador animals.